Welcome to the International Institute for Facilitation's podcast, Spaghetti on the Wall. I'm Eileen Dowse, Chair Emeritus and Director of Certification for INEFAC. And today I am joined by Saba Hashim, and he's a Certified Master Facilitator, and he also has his Master's in Training and Development and Adult and Continuing Education, and that's really important because of what we're going to talk about today. We're talking about icebreakers, and we may smash them up, make ice cubes, who knows. We're going to have a really good time. We're going to serve up those ice cubes to you and those icebreakers to you. So let's get started. Welcome, Saba.
Thank you, Eileen. Thank you for having me here. We already broke some ice before we turned this recording function on, so thank you for that.
We did some icebreakers about icebreakers, and that's what happens when you put two facilitators together in a room. And
Yes.
two facilitators from two different parts of the world. You're in Singapore and I'm here in the United States. So thank you.
Yeah. Just to give an idea how far apart we are. You are 7:30 in the morning, right? So I've got to say good morning to you, and I'm
That's
at
right. That's right.
9:30
There you go.
in the evening in Singapore.
There you
Yeah.
go. And which is even better because I'm not a morning person. So there we go. This is how much I love this topic, to talk about it this early in the morning.
Yeah.
Okay, before we get started, let's talk about what is an icebreaker. Now, I know a lot of facilitators are going to be watching this, but in your mind, what is an icebreaker and what's it supposed to do?
Yeah, that's a very good question. Sometimes we get into the thick of things. We do what we do, but sometimes we need to check in on each other and find out what's the purpose, right? So basically, when we do an icebreaker, at least for me, is the first and foremost at top of my mind is to build rapport, right? Is the first step towards building rapport, especially if it's a full day workshop, right? You need to start right, set the tone for the session, and make sure everybody feels comfortable to be themselves. Of course, you can use the word psychological safety. I just want everybody to feel calm and at peace, being themselves. That's one. At times, I use icebreaker to just bring up the energy in the room.
Yeah.
Because people start, like what you just said earlier, some people are morning person, some people need coffee in their bloodstream before they start working, and of course, break down any social or psychological barriers that might
Right.
stop them from participating in the session.
Right.
Yeah.
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 I'm also going to add it's a great way to help people focus. Sometimes when people have come in from other parts of their
Oh,
work
yeah.
and they
Yeah,
get
absolutely.
together and they're like, and they still have this other stuff going on in their mind. This is just a nice way
Yeah.
to say, okay, now we're here.
Yeah. Yeah. So they might have yesterday's email still on their mind, thinking
That's
about it
right.
all the way
That's
to the
right.
door of the banquet room or the conference room or the function room.
Yeah.
They're still thinking about yesterday's work. So
Yeah.
that's a good point. Yeah.
Before we started this recording, you and I were talking, and I was sharing with you one of my absolute pet peeves about when facilitators do icebreakers, because
Mm.
they forget about absolutely what you just said, the focusing, the building rapport, the raising energy. I find that sometimes people are like, do an icebreaker, check, and it has nothing to do with the meeting. Like
Yeah.
it's just a random question to say, hey, everybody, tell me what Halloween character you want to be. And that could be a great question for the topic, except they don't make that link.
Yeah, absolutely, you're right. In fact, I experienced something like that recently where I was asked, because I was a participant in that particular workshop, where I was asked if you had a superpower and you could choose to be a superhero, what superhero would you be and what's the superpower? But I couldn't see the relevance of that in the context of the workshop. So
That's
yeah, it was just, it's missing a punchline, something
Yeah,
like that.
yeah. Your word is right. The relevance, like why? Like, don't give us busy work, right? So, um, if you were to nail down what's really important for a facilitator when they're conducting an icebreaker, what might you say that it would be?
Yeah, in when a facilitator is conducting an icebreaker, I think they got to look into two very baseline things. The word psychological safety has been beaten to death. We say it a lot of times, but sometimes I do see facilitators break that rule. The other one, of course, the more obvious one, more tangible one is physical safety. Sometimes some participants do go all in,
Right.
and sometimes they lose sight and lose place of themselves, and then they might get hurt. And I've seen that happen. True story. This is like a 15 years back. An icebreaker actually saw one of the plaster wall. I'm not sure what you call it in the States, but in here we call it like a plaster wall or gypsum board. Somebody actually burst through that plaster wall, because it's such a thin wall, and then somebody actually burst through it, and then yeah, that's really irresponsible on the part of the organizer. I'm just glad I'm not the one being
Okay, that's
being
not an
attended to with
icebreaker, that's a
many.
wall breaker. Like
That's a
that's
wall
all.
breaker. Yeah,
That's
yeah,
the next.
yeah, 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 yeah. But we did have some ice after that. He did have some ice.
Yeah,
Yeah.
God, you needed ice.
Yeah.
I did an icebreaker. I think the other thing about icebreakers is you really have to know your audience, like you say, and or your participants. I will often do an icebreaker that is, tell me about a scar on your body. You don't have to show it, just tell us about it. It's plus and minuses because sometimes people go on to these long stories, so you have to frame it up that you just
Yeah.
have to do a quick thing, and the purpose of that is just getting to know each other better. The downside is, it, to your point, it could be too much self-disclosure and people aren't comfortable with that.
Yeah.
That's one
Yes.
thing.
Yes.
The one time that it just didn't work for me was I was working with a group of disabled people, and they had a whole bunch of dysfunction in their organization. So I did, because they all had scars and things had gone wrong in the organization. So I thought, oh yay, this is perfect. This is a perfect thread. So I said, tell me about a scar on your body. Well, they were like, well, when I had this surgery and I have the scar from this surgery. And it was like, okay, no, this is not
Yeah.
working.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you
Yeah.
have to be really careful and know your people.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I agree with you. It's one of those things. If you're not careful, you're not framing the activity correctly.
Yeah.
And when I say you, I actually mean me in the early
Yeah,
years.
yeah, yeah.
So this is one of those. It's one of those moments whereby the minute the person starts sharing, and then 10 seconds later, you have to pause him and say, "Okay, I gotta stop you right there. It's going the direction that I didn't imagine it would be. So
That's right.
let's restart the activity."
Yeah, exactly. And sometimes you have to do that, right? Because you, as a
Yeah,
facilitator, are in control, really. It's
yeah,
their meeting,
yeah.
but you're in control. All
Yeah.
right. I want to do something that we don't usually do on this podcast. I want
Sure.
to play a game with you. You could call it an icebreaker. And for this game, I want to have a competition with you. Um, are
Mm,
you ready? Yeah, you ready? Okay. So here's the idea. I'm going to set my phone for 10 minutes, and you and
sure.
I are going to go back and forth to
Hmm.
dump on this podcast as many share icebreakers as possible. Now,
Sure.
there's one criteria I think that's important, since we were just talking about don't just do an icebreaker. As part of you explaining the icebreaker, you have to tell the purpose of the icebreaker and then
Ah.
the description. Now, I won't know when you're have finished. So, by any chance, do you have a Sharpie marker around? Like you're a good
Yes, as a matter of fact, I
facilitator.
have one. I
Good.
have one.
All right. So,
Yeah.
I am going to pass the marker to you, and then you can accept it, and then it's your turn. All right?
All right.
Okay.
Yeah. It's like a talking object then.
It is the
Just like a talking object.
talking
Yeah.
stick, talking marker.
Talking
All
stick?
right.
Yes.
Okay. Since you are the honored guest here, let me set the timer. And when the timer ends, the one with the most wins, and who knows, we may reach consensus and both win. Um, why don't you go first? All right, you ready?
Sure. I'm ready. Yep.
Good. I'm starting.
All right. The very first icebreaker that I have in mind is the activity called Who Am I? Right? So basically, we'll pin the name of a famous person to each participant's back, and so that they can't see it, right? So and then participants have to walk around and ask each other questions, about the identity of this famous person. So the question can only be answered by a yes or no. So the game continues until everyone has figured out who they are. And now the purpose of this activity is pretty simple. We want to get them comfortable with asking questions, right? And we don't want them to kind of be a passive participant. We want them to get to question activities, challenge the process if they need to, but don't be afraid to ask questions.
Perfect. Thank you. All right. You want to pass me the talking stick?
Oh yeah, forgot about it. And here you go.
Thank you very much. Okay. Mine is using metaphors. If I want to talk about a topic, if it's strategic planning or a great organization, or they're having trouble, so what does a great team look like? I present an image to them. And I say to them, what components of this image remind you of a great team or a great strategic plan or a great whatever. Now, the purpose of this activity is it helps me as a facilitator understand the minds and where people are thinking about the topic, but it also gets them to understand what their colleagues are viewing as the issue. So that's mine. Over to you. I'm passing it back over to you.
All right, thank you. So here's another one that I particularly like, and I've used it just recently. It's called sociometry lineup. Pardon the fancy name, but it's really a lineup, and it's anchored with a question. And the question could be something like, we'll normally start with something safe, like on a scale of 1 to 10, how high is your tolerance for spicy food? So like 10s would be, I can stand up to a very spicy food, that would be a 10. I can take an ounce of chili, that would be a 1, that kind of thing. Now we'll start with something safe, but eventually you'll graduate to something that's very relevant to the workshop. So in my case, just a little bit of context. It is a workshop about inclusivity. It's about diversity. It's about how people relate and connect with one another despite the differences that the inherent differences like ethnicity, religion, and all that. And we realize it really warms them up to the topic. They get comfortable in disclosing a little bit more about themselves without making any drastic disclosure, and it's been working out very well for me so far.
Nice, yeah, and it gets people up and moving. Okay, I'm ready for that.
Your turn.
All right.
Yep. Here you go.
Thank you very much. Okay. I'm going to do just a quick one. I put up a slide of all different kinds of emojis, the yellow emojis, and I simply say to the group, how do you feel today? And then I number them, right? Because it's hard to say, I'm the guy with the glasses or I'm the one with so I'll do like 1 to 16. Give me the number that you feel. This works great for virtual and in person. And it also the purpose is polling the group, right? How are they feeling? If you've got someone tired, if you've got someone energized, if you've got someone that needs more coffee, now you are aware of the participants, and tying it into the group, you can say, well, we all have different feelings, and yay, thanks for letting me know. We're going to try to get at a similar level. So back over to you with the pen.
Thank you. I like that one. I'm still, you got me at the emojis. I'm already thinking about how to spin that one. All right, good. Now, next one I have is the history of my name. It's an activity called History of My Name. So basically, we'll get the participants to pair up. They're going to share the history of their name, whether it's real name or nickname, it's fine. Now, the little trick is that when they get a chance to share later, they have to share their partner's history, or rather the history of the partner's name, right? So the purpose of this activity is pretty simple. At the end of this activity, they're going to try to remember as many names, right? People who remember as many names will basically get a little prize, right? But more importantly, they get to introduce, that means instead of introducing themselves, later on, they will actually introduce their partners, right? Or as many partners they can remember. And the purpose of this activity is really about active listening, because most people will realize, especially in conferences and networking, they are more obsessed about trying to sound good and getting their introduction right rather than listening to the other person's introduction. And I noticed that this happens a lot, even to myself in the past, where the minute that person completed his introduction, I've forgotten his name already, and then that's really bad. That means I'm a lousy facilitator at that point of time. I'm being a lousy facilitator. How can I forget the person's name 30 seconds after he's just spoken it, you know? Because I'm so nervous about my own introduction. That's ridiculous, right? Anyway, yeah.
Love it. I'm going to not only take that pen, I am going to take that idea too. I like it. I have one that when I am getting a group together and they have to work together, but they also need to learn about each other really quickly so that they can be effective. I ask them to answer 4 questions. Now, I also point out that this is a lot of self-disclosure, and we were talking about psychological safety first. So you need to establish that because this is self-disclosure. First question, what are your strengths? What do you bring to the group? And the reason for that is everyone brings different strengths. Play to your strengths. And then here's where it gets, deeper. What feedback are you working on? So what might hinder you from the group? So for example, I'm a get in there and do it, and if Saba's not speaking loud enough or quick enough, I'm just gonna do it. And so I'm working on that, and it's not my intention to destroy the group. I just want to make sure that the group gets it's accomplished. And then here's the best way to work with me. So the best way to work with me is, have fun. Like if this group's not having fun, peace out. I'm not doing it. And then the last question is situations where you could be misunderstood. So it kind of going back, hey, I'm going to get in there and do it. And then you may think that I'm autocratic and controlling when in fact I am really a rescuer for the group or something. So asking those 4 questions. And then the purpose really is the group starting to realize who and what they are working with. All right, got my pen, you ready?
All right.
Back
I'm gonna
over
grab
to
that.
you.
Thank you. All right. So thanks for that. I really like that 4 questions. Really, you can really shape it to make it relevant. Now, the next for me is, I like this one as well. Now, this is a particular unique one because it's called Catch and Carrot. I gave it a name Catch and Carrot because when I played it, nobody gave it a name. So basically, you know how we facilitators are. We think on the feet, right? We give it a name. So Catch and Carrot. So basically, I hold the index finger of my left hand. This is the carrot. We'll get them to pretend it's a carrot, and then my right hand, it's a catch, right? So we'll get everybody to stand in a circle, and the objective is very simple, right? So they're going to hear a story being told by me, and I'll tell them what's the trigger word. A trigger word could be as simple as water, right? So when they hear a trigger word, what they're going to need to do is they're going to try to catch the left index finger of their partners on the right of them, right? And then at the same time, escape on the left, right? Don't let anyone catch their finger, but at the same time, try to catch a finger or catch a carrot, right? So and I realize it's not just a fantastic icebreaker, but it's a great de-inhibitizer because that's usually the first time in the workshop that they are kind of getting comfortable with physical contact, right? And in this case, it's the finger.
Right. And let's just point out that in some cultures, that won't work. Right?
Yes.
So cultures where females don't want you grabbing or touch, or anybody doesn't want the touching. So I like that one because it's like, we're going to work really close together, and at the same time, you have to set that one up. But and what an energizer, right?
Yeah, and you're absolutely correct. So I will usually frame the activity in such a way that if I'm already aware of the culture, right? So we'll set up 2 groups when we have the guys, the gentlemen on one circle, and then the ladies on one circle. They feel more comfortable, right? If it's in Singapore and everybody's comfortable, I'll just tell them that stand in a circle, but I will make a quick reminder to the gentleman. I said, gentlemen, the word gentle right? It's in the name when I call you gentlemen, be gentle, right? It's an icebreaker, not a finger breaker,
Yeah, I
right?
love
Yeah.
it. That's
Yeah.
great. I love
Yeah.
it. Okay.
Yeah. So while it's an icebreaker, there is a purpose actually because the learning behind it is we want them to be listening to the trigger word. But a lot of time, the story holds a clue to the next activity, but they are so obsessed with that trigger word they didn't take in the story. They
Ooh,
are
yeah.
obsessed with the trigger word. They forgot about the whole story, right? And it's a clue for the next activity, kind of like an escape room. So that's one. And the other thing is that one of the extra debrief points that we hope to reach is that sometimes it's also about active listening, right? So you got while you're looking out for the trigger words, you got to listen to the whole story and don't jump to conclusion first,
Yeah.
right?
I love
Yeah,
that. Love it.
they get a kick
Okay.
out of that anyway. Yeah.
Great. Thank you. All right.
Okay, passing the marker over to you.
Okay. Thank you very much. Alrighty. We only have time for one more each, and maybe
ahead.
we need to do a follow-up because I would love to share more.
The sequel, yeah.
The sequel, right.
Yeah.
Okay, this one again can be used virtual or in person. Basically, the purpose is to pull the group on where they are. And this is a fast icebreaker because sometimes you have time to do an icebreaker and sometimes you don't have any time and you really need to do that. Get them focused, get them moving. So I put up on the screen, you have 5 options and you can choose your options. 5 is, I'm so thrilled to be here. 4, I'm happy to be here. 3, this will be okay. 2, I wish I wasn't here. And number 1 is, am I going to live through this? And they have to call it, or they give a number or put their number in the chat. And again, as a facilitator, I know that maybe they don't want to be here. Maybe this is a mandatory facilitated session. They don't want to be here or they're tired or whatever. So it can follow up with conversations. And I say, hey, we're all at different levels. And again, we're going to balance it out. All right, you get the last one. Look like we're going to be, the tiebreaker. If you can't answer this one, then I'm going to win. Are you ready? Over to you.
All right. You're making me nervous here. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, you better have one.
Okay.
All right.
Grabbing the marker from you.
Okay, a marker over to you.
All right. So this is one of my favorite icebreaker. It's very easy to implement. So when people, it's called act and draw, right? It's a very simple, because I couldn't think of a better name. I call it act and draw. Basically, they have to act things out or draw something out.
Oh, okay, okay. Oh.
Right.
Nice.
So they take turns to act and draw based on an assigned clue. So each of them gets a card. They're supposed to either act that object out or draw it out onto a A4 size whiteboard, right? And it's very fast paced. So normally we only give them 3 to 4 minutes to basically either act the item on the card, act the clue on the card, or draw it out on the whiteboard. Yeah. And if they can't nail it, they got to pass to the next person, right? They only have at the most 30 seconds to start guessing. So, and usually we can squeeze in about 17 to 20 clues in a space of 3 minutes. And the clues, here's the best part. Because the activity is usually shaped according to the theme of the workshop. So let's say, for example, the workshop is about trust, right? So they could be acting out scenes from the office where we talk about trust is built or trust is broken, right? And somebody might draw maybe like a project dashboard just to show that this is where we have accountability about our project, our daily stand-up meeting and all that. So
I
at the end of about 3
this. You show an image of the office and then they have to act out the trust?
No. So the clue will be in a form of a card, and sometimes it's a digital card on the phone. So sometimes it can be something like, a picture of we overrunning. The clue will be a meeting that overruns, right? So then they have to act out, like point at the clock, and then they start yawning, right? Yeah. So something like that, right? So and the clues
then the group guesses.
The group guesses. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, and they get points for it. And the tougher the question, they get extra points and all that. right? So
That's
they get a kick out of it. They kind of they warm up to each other. They see each other having fun at play, but at the same time they have the behaviors, the value cards, right, that they're looking at, and they're looking at this. Yeah, we had fun, but hey, these behaviors are actually us at work. The real positive behaviors that we display, and also the not so positive ones that we
Yeah.
display.
Yeah.
So once we have completed the activity, right, we'll have a deeper conversation about, okay, let's talk about what you've just acted out. Right?
Yeah.
Some of you acted out very convincingly.
Yeah.
Let's have a conversation about
What's
it.
funny about
Yeah.
that one is if you've ever facilitated facilitators or taught a training program to teachers, like those are like the worst, right? Or also present to doctors. But they act out all the worst behavior because they've seen it. You're laughing because
Yeah.
you've seen it. And it's like, why are you being this dysfunctional participant when you know how horrible it is for the facilitator? So that activity is so great because it gets out all those frustrations.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, Eileen, because for some of them, I didn't realize it until like the 15th or 20th time I played it. I mean, I've conducted this activity. For some of them, it's equivalent to therapy, like purging things out, like just getting it out of the system. But because they don't get to, complain about it or
Yeah.
whine about it in the office or complain about it, but this is like a safe space for them to tell them what they really feel about that situation,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, well, okay. I know we were equal, but with that last one, you win. Hands down. You win, buddy. It's all you. You got it. Okay.
I think we both won.
Unfortunately, we need to wrap this up, but I do have one last question for you, and it's a question
Sure.
I always ask, and that is around what suggestions, like share some wisdom. Let us know the wisdom of Saba. What suggestions do you have for anyone who really wants to develop and improve their skills in icebreakers? I mean, we've given you ideas, but how can you make sure you do them well?
Yeah, thanks for the question. A very relevant question. And I always say this: know your purpose first. I mean, what is the purpose of the icebreaker? That is what separates an icebreaker well done by a facilitator versus an icebreaker that's scripted and being done just for the sake of doing it.
Yeah.
So know your purpose first. Yeah.
I love it. Saba, this has been so much fun, and I don't know if you noticed, but I was writing. You gave me lots of great ideas, and I really hope those watching got some great ideas as well. So thank you so much, Saba. And that's also going on in my mind. We might need to do a follow-up on this because I still have a whole lot to
I think
share.
so too.
Okay, we'll consider it done.
Yeah.
Thank you, Saba.
And likewise, thank you, Eileen, for this opportunity and for having me on this podcast. I really enjoyed myself, and I'm already looking forward to the sequel of this podcast episode.
Consider it done. Stay tuned.